Point. Good morning, everyone. Honorable keynote speaker of the day, Ms. Deepa Sayal, CEO, ADG Online Solutions Private Limited.
Yeah.
Honorable Chairman of Indian Academy Education Trust, Dr. T. Somshega. Respected Secretary of Indian Academy Education Trust, Mrs. Bharti. Respected Chief Operating Officer of Indian Academy Group of Institutions, Dr. Srinidhi K. Parthasarthi. Respected Principal, Indian Academy Degree College Autonomous, Dr. E. Jerome Xavier. Respected Accreditation Ambassador of UGC Paramarsh Mentor-Mentee Scheme, Dr. Geeta Bali. Teaching fraternity from over 12 states. Faculty members of mentee institutions, Indian Academy Degree College Autonomous, and research scholars, a very warm and hearty welcome to each one of you to Srujana 2020. Srujana, our annual faculty development program, aims to promote campus-wide excellence in teaching, enhance the teaching skills to become more creative and competent to adapt to the paradigm shift in teaching pedagogy. The theme of Srujana 2020 is Reinvent, Refurbish, and Rejuvenate Curriculum for an Outcome-Based Learning. This year, we have invited teaching fraternity from other colleges too. Curriculum redesigning aims at reassessing the contents to embrace newer resources, strategies to bridge the gap of industry-academia interface, focusing more on skill development. With this brief note, I now invite Dr. Srinidhi K. Parthasarthi, Chief Operating Officer of Indian Academy Group of Institutions, to give the introductory remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's an absolute pleasure to be with you all today to speak a few words as the introductory remarks. Rethink should also precede reinvent. And in changing times today, I think reinvention, refurbishing, and recreating should be the order of the day. The world is embracing Industry 4, the fourth industrial revolution. One is technology in teaching, technology for teaching. And the environmental factor with COVID coming in catalyzed this need of technology for teaching. When we talk of cloud computing, robotics, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotechnology, and Internet of Things, the world is changing today. The Porter's 5-force model, which came up in the 1980s, was reformed when Internet came in 1990s. And Dovens and others came up with that 8-force model when digitalization became the order of the day. In changing times today, we need to leverage this technology. And how do we do it? The first thing is rethink. Shifting the paradigm every day and going to the root cause analysis of what is our objective. The 5 whys, or the why, when, where, what, and how, should be the mantra which has to go on in our mind so that we adapt to the changing situation. Clayton Christensen, when he wrote the famous article in the Harvard Business Review, he spoke of disruptive innovation. And disruptive innovation, embracing technology, is what is going to stay today. With this, we are at the threshold of another change. The new education policy, which has come in last week, speaks about student, and learnability in the learning space. The learning environment should be a mutual learning platform, both for the facilitator as well as the student. So student-centered learning, clarity in focus, which has to basically focus at the vision and mission of the organization or the institution. Outcome-based learning at the end of the course, what the student is able to deliver, what skills has he or she got from that particular course is very important. This calls for designing down and delivering up. So this philosophy has to go into the class when we talk of outcome-based learning. And every student at the end of the session should exceed the outcome or exceed the expectation of what is set initially. So this basically is an amalgamation of two brilliant fields. One is technology and one is learning. The next 2 days, for all the faculty members who are present on this platform, it is going to be delight every second. If we could take in the inputs from the learned speakers, try to mull over it, put it into practice, and rise in wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You have set the stage on a right note by encouraging us. Digital transformation in education can enhance instructional learning, especially in higher education, by creating a blended learning experience that combines both traditional classroom-based methods and modern technology. It also creates better connect with students. Today, we have amidst us a very distinguished and eminent person as our keynote speaker. I now invite Professor Sushma Shri, IQAC member, to introduce our keynote speaker to all of us.
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good morning. It's great pleasure for me to introduce our keynote speaker this morning, Ms. Deepa Sayal, CEO and co-founder, ADG Online Solutions and NetMex Digital Media, founder, CEO of IWIL India, and CMO Law Vedic India. Ms. Deepa is a digital marketing trainer, mentor, incubator, entrepreneur, and a tech evangelist with 20 years of holistic experience in the information technology domain, and was featured in the CNBC TV 18 to be amongst the 32 impactful women changing the digital world in 2017. She is a seasoned author of the bestseller Digipedia, Basic Guide to Digital Marketing and Transformation, and has been a keynote speaker at various organizations such as FICCI, CII, 3M, Election Commission of India, Amity University, to name a few. Being in the digital world since almost a decade, she has also consulted and built digital impact programs for a large number of Indian and international clients such as Cisco, Western Digital, Toshiba, JBL, etc. She has also worked with the Election Commission of India, Honorable Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Ministry of Statistics, and Program Implementation Limited, along with others such as Hatran, IOC, and Maruti. As a futurist and thought leader, her forte lies in customizing and crafting digital campaigns and solutions and devising products such as CRM solutions, ERPs, software applications, digital office automation, and several business intelligence solutions. Dear participants, let me draw your attention to Ms. Deepa's achievements over the years. She has been awarded with several prestigious awards, including Dun & Bradstreet Best Women Entrepreneur 2016, World Women Leadership Award, and Digital Leadership Award 2017 by She the People TV, and was featured in the Financial Express, Z News, and Your Story as an inspiring women entrepreneur transforming and building the next gen enterprise. She's also won Kaleido Award and under the Best Use of Event Kumbh 2019, and also won Bronze Award by Internet and Mobile Association of India for Best Use of Twitter 2020. Well, that's not the end of it. Her magnanimous contributions to the society includes she sponsored education for 15 underprivileged girl children under IWIL India, a non-profit organization for women entrepreneurs, and worked with more than 2,000 women entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly join me in welcoming a futurist, digital transformationist, and digital media expert, Ms. Deepa Sahil. Over to you, Deepa.
Well, thank you so much. A very warm and a very humbling introduction to all of you. And before I begin, I'd like to thank Dr. Jerome, Dr. Srinidhi, and the entire Indian Academy Degree College fraternity. Thank you for having me over today. Uh, it's lovely to be among so many students, so much of young energy. And while I share my thoughts with all of you about what I've done and what I basically do, I would want to understand from you as well, learn with you as well. I would like to make this session as interactive as possible, so that there can be an exchange. And I would also like to gauge a level of your understanding as to whether my keynote is in consequence and accordation to that. Now, I'd like to share one of my, I'd like to share my screen with all of you. And here you go. So these are my slides for the day. And when I say digital transformation, the road ahead in education, I'm sure everybody is aware that the government has changed the new policy that comes after a very long time, which is the national education, the new education policy that they have, put forth is very, very interesting in terms of, collaborating, in terms of embedding the collaborative culture for the students, in terms of boosting creativity. And I'm sure many of you must be excited to know that we are going to go through that change. Do you agree? How many of you agree that this is going to be a very interesting change for the coming generations, and you may benefit a lot with that? Okay, so is everybody able to hear me? Is everybody able to hear as I speak? Yes.
Yes, yes, Deepa, very clear.
Sure. Thank you so much. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm very, very passionate about technology, and I'm very passionate about teaching technology to students, to MSME, to women entrepreneurs. I've had a large stint, almost like 13 years now, total stint of 20 years. As Madam said, I work with different brands, I work with government institutions. So my experience to you can bring about the industry-centric focus, which is slightly different from the textbook format. I can tell you how companies are, using new innovation formats, how they're implementing ERP solutions, how they're using customer relationship management solutions. And then I'll come to education, how you're going to benefit from this entire process. So when we say this, what exactly? At least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years. You'll be surprised, but yesterday night I was listening to this interview from Elon Musk. I'm sure everybody knows Elon Musk, he's the founder of Tesla, founder of SpaceX. And we see that the companies that were there 10 years ago are no longer there, and they have faded away. There are new players in the industry like Google, like Facebook, and we have many, many new interesting instances like Reliance Jio is a new brand and we see many multinationals coming to India and investing such huge amount into the new digital technologies. So everything is changing at a lightning speed. So if you see this, John Chambers, I'm sure everybody knows who's John Chambers, but he's the executive chairman, Cisco Systems. And he said at least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years if they don't figure out how to change. You might think that we are an educational institute and what connection we have with this. And I would directly point that this connection leads to the employability, the job skills that are going to change the industry in the next 3 or 4 years. For all the students who are listening to me, I would like to emphasize that the way you'll be hired in the future and the way that you'll be working in the future, and even the teachers, the entire fraternity, how you'll be empowering students will be completely changing on the basis of this particular statement. Now, the cabinet approves new national education policies. Take a look at the key points. What are the key points? I think as a person and as a futurist, as a thought leader in this domain, I think by doing the single window policy, by giving a new edge to the entire structure, students can use creativity and so can the teachers be. Now I'll give you a very specific example. The kind of jobs that are going to increase, the kind of teacher skills or the kind of student skills that are going to increase will be cyber security. It'll be, if you ask me, business intelligence. If you ask me, data, that'll be on fire. The next 10 years, the best jobs and best student academics will be built on data with technologies such as Python. It'll be a big, big change. So if you look at my screen, how companies evolve for the students to be hired or for startups would be customer focus. You'll be building customer focus. Organizational structures would change. For example, a chief digital officer will merge with a CMO and a CIO. So, technology and operations will have to blend, very, very subtly. And that lead to new incoming roads, and it lead to outbound, technologies such as robotics, process automation. It will lead to newer technologies such as I said, data intelligence. As I said, so lots on the card. Then is change management, transformational leadership, technology decisions. This is very important. So I'll come to slowly to education in focus. But when you say technology decisions, many decisions when you run your institute, whether in terms of revenue, whether in terms of expenses, whether in terms of any decision, whether in terms of increasing the student fees or the qualification of the teachers. So this really matters, and this happens to data. Integration, you'll have to collaborate. I'll talk about collaborative cultures. It's a very important, was the right word? It's a very, very important underlining core area of this presentation, because I don't know how many of you have heard Sundar Pichai in his IIT Kharagpur the speech that he has done. And he said, one thing I can tell you is that the collaborative cultures are going to be nourished, and they are the pillars on which the new age organizations or the academic institutes will be fundamentalizing on the basis of that. Another thing that I can talk about and really vehemently emphasize is data security, privacy, and data ethics. So whatever data that you are saving for your students, for your academics, for your curriculum, anything, it has to be very well preserved in, ERP, or as I said, enterprise resource planning softwares or customer relationship management softwares or student management softwares has to be taken on. And there are hundreds and hundreds of tools that are going to help. So are you connecting with this presentation? I would love an acknowledgement, because that will give me the energy to propel ahead. How many of you gel and connect to this presentation till now? Dr. Jerome, do you hear me?
Yes, sir. It's very good.
Okay.
You're in the right direction for us, especially for the teaching community. It will be good.
Why I'm going to ask in between is that it connects me that I am in the right direction, and people are, connecting with me and you can tell me that, I need to change or make a change.
Yeah, we are able to follow you very well. Good.
Thank you so much. So when it comes to digitization, now this is a very broad word, but imagine if you have 50,000 files in your records in your college premises or your university premises. You can digitize these records through, different processes, which is like scanning the files into, I'm giving a perpetual example how this is going to happen. So you scan the files, you put it into a software, and the student database is ready in a digital form. That is nothing but Modi ji is trying to do. He's trying to digitize our entire education system. I don't think so where we are heading. Imagine this life. I don't see students carrying a bag or anything when they come to the college or when they come to the university. They will have everything ready on their, in the cloud. They'll be integrating their data in the cloud. Teachers will be checking papers, or they'll be, even their certifications will be in the cloud. Their remarks, their everything will be in the cloud. And there'll be another 5 years, you'll see data technologies like blockchain coming in a big way. And because of that, data security will have to have new, we'll have to set new boundaries to achieve in this segment, which is digital transformation. So one emphasis is digitization. The second one, and the first one that I said was collaboration. And the third one that I'd like to tell you is personalization. So knowing your students or knowing your teachers, knowing your staff, knowing your management will be very important. When you profile your people inbound and you profile your people outbound, that is the people who are studying in your institute, we call that profiling the behavior, and it is known as personalization. So talking from the industry, I don't know how many of you are aware with the Cambridge Analytica example. Has anybody heard about the Mark Zuckerberg thing that happened when Trump was elected and Cambridge Analytica?
Audience can respond.
Okay. So if anybody would love to give an answer, great. But I'd like to mention that personalization, the Cambridge Analytica thing, what happened was that many people believe, that's just the theory, that the American government was elected because of the social media personalization by compromising data. That means, in simple words, some data was, what is the right word? Stolen? No, stolen is not. It's taken away, and people were targeted based on personalization. They understood their behaviors, their profiles, and they targeted the entire campaign to set up these 50 million or 60 million people. So that is personalization. Interesting. You'd ask me, why does Modi ji want the NEP? Why are we talking so much about this digitalization or digitization, whatever? The word is, we are going to be digitalized by 2021. There'll be so I'll give you a simple example. When demonetization happened, Modi ji said, use credit cards, use wallets, don't use cash. So what happens is our economy is going to be completely driven by the digital part. The digital economy sets in. This is a very big word when I say 60% by 2021. Now with COVID coming in, some change for sure. But I know that most of the people like plastic money. They like to deal that way. And you'll ask me, why do you say so? Support this claim. And my answer would be key findings. Look at this. This is like a slightly old statistic, but 105 million SMBs creating 4 million additional jobs by 2024. Now this gets very important when we talk about faculties. Why? Because they're teaching students, they're preparing students who will be hired by millions of companies. And for them, it is very important to understand as to what will be the growth pattern. So look at this. So many people, so many SMBs creating so many million jobs. And what is the nature of these jobs? Well, productivity-led solutions, 30 billion opportunity, okay? Then 10 million opportunity, SMBs across areas like customer engagement, digital transactions that have been enabled by over 600 aggregators. Huge. So basically we are stepping, or it's just the tip of the iceberg, how it's going to all take away. I'll give you a classic example in my next slides, and you'll agree with me that where we are headed is a change. Take this example in the hospital segment. This is like different. This is a totally different track, but look at the robots. There's a robot that's doing a hysterectomy operation, which is known as the Da Vinci surgical robot. So we are customizing and democratizing the use of machines. See how different. You would have a robot help you, diagnose you, and tell you what is going on in your body when you go to the healthcare. That is one. Look at this. Self-driving cars to Austin, Texas. Very soon, 2 more years. The first version that you get is electric cars in the next 1 year, and another 2 years, you're going to see self-driving cars. Not sure whether self-driving cars can travel in the capital or like in Delhi or Bangalore or Mumbai, but yes, self-driving cars are coming soon. Then 3D virtual dressing room. Have a look. You don't need to go to is somebody saying something?
You can continue, Deepa.
Thank you. And you would also tell me the time limit too, in case I'm, extending, do let me know. Yeah. So if you have a look at this, the 3D virtual dressing room, you don't need to go to a change store and, start putting on dresses to see which one looks good. You will have smart glasses to tell you, which is nothing but 3D virtual dressing room. This is what Google is working on. So imagine how the world changes enormously. I mean, this is, who would have believed that, you saying the first and only virtual dressing room, Sri Lanka. This is in Sri Lanka. So imagine what is where should we be in the next couple of years? This is huge. This is an IKEA virtual store. You might ask me, what connection is that with our education? I'd say it's got a big connection because you're going to empower students who have to empower with these organizations. So better start preparing. What I can tell you out of my experience is a mammoth task looking at how Indian, I don't know how I'm going to put it, but in Delhi, I have a daughter who's 17 and I see her slogging day and night. And I tell her that whatever you're studying, only 20% of it is going to use when you grow up and you come into my shoes. You'll only be using English, maths, and maybe computer science, but she's doing non-medical. So what I'm trying to say is that they're going to be a very interesting combination of subjects. You'll be reading and understanding and, getting through technologies like virtual reality. Take a look at this. You're sitting here. I remember when I was a kid, I was studying Harappa, Sanskriti in the book and the textbook, and the teacher used to read it to me. But now you'll have a virtual headset on your head, and the teacher will take you there, and you will be able to roam around. These experiences are known as immersive experiences, which are 3D experiences. Now, this is again the tip of the iceberg. When you say putting a headset and going to Harappa, Sanskriti, back in the days, and actually getting to feel and touch to some extent to the senses of the brain, this is going to be so elongated in the coming 10 to 15 years that we will have virtual robots and many other technologies. So facial recognition, I'm sure everybody has one on the phone, but this is very important when it comes to cybersecurity very soon. So you ask me again, Dr. Jerome and Dr. Srinidhi, you might ask me why facial recognition is so important. And I'd say we'll have to prepare, as teachers, we'll have to prepare students who are ready with facial recognition. How do we make this? We make this through Python. We make this through TensorFlow. And these technologies, a lot of blending technologies bring together this combination. And how do we do that? We learn this by programming and by hiring teachers who are very good in programming softwares and who worked in the industry. So I'll give you a small example. To have industry exposure would be very important, in my opinion, to be able to teach students, because where we are heading is an immersive experience. What I'm saying is that if I worked in a corporate and understood what is their requirement, I'll be able to prep up students for the industry, by the industry. Now coming to robotic process automation, take a look at this very interesting example. This is a robot. This guy is helping this lady sell her grocery in a store. And he's also telling her what is the price of the thing that she's buying. So, well, this is variable. In a country like India, would robots eat our jobs? Not really, not really. This question, I'm sure somebody might want to know that if robots come, what happens to us? Well, we'll have to get smarter than them. And how do we get smarter than them? Well, we'll have to write programs for robots. And that is where we're looking at more technologically capable students in robotic process automation. So today morning, I was seeing the clip in the West. I'm very lucky to tell you that I went to Washington in 2018. I've also been at the MIT campus in Boston, and the kind of technology the students are working. I have with my own eyes seen students working on shell technologies, shell on the beach. So they're creating technologies for listening through that. They are using these technologies in 3D printing, and the students have such an enormous exposure, and they've been given so much liberty by their by their teachers, by their management, by their faculties. What I'm trying to say is that we are basically lacking that in India. I don't know if many of you agree or not, but many of my friends who stay abroad, they say, and I also feel that we are more by the textbook and less by the, by the application of it. So practical learning curve is the need of the hour. And that is why I think Modi ji has felt the requirement for our academics to change, because our students are too much bogged down by the percentage pressure and excelling pressure rather than learning pressure. Now, this is my own view. This is my own colored spectacle. Are you all connecting with me? Because it feels that I'm talking to myself. So I'd like to know that you guys are connecting with me. Yeah.
We are with you, Deepa.
Sure.
Very good session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's now coming to education. There are two education examples that I have put. One is example of digital transformation in higher education, chatbots and libraries. Now, if you have gone through the NEP, this has been introduced this month, very of late, it says digital libraries. Now, when I say digital libraries, that means that I'll put my entire set of libraries in a software library and somebody in the front end. And that does not mean a librarian. There'll be somebody who's sitting in the front end, that'll be a chatbot. And you will tell that person or the chatbot that you're looking for this particular book, and they will give it to you in a minute. And that book, they'll give it to you on a software, on your tab, on your PC, or wherever you're comfortable reading it. So that is one example of how digital transformation is going to come to colleges, universities, and the academics. Coming to this example of DT in higher education, digitally transforming decision-making with data analytics software. How many students in my college or my university are willing to take computer science as a subject? Would it be a good subject? What should be the fee structure? To all these answers, we make the decision-making with data analytics software, and there are many, many examples. When I say data analytics, we have technologies like deep learning, coupled with big data, and that is nothing but people call it artificial intelligence. When intelligence comes through data, processed like a human being, like a brain. So making intelligent decisions through artificial technology or the computer is nothing but AI. So I'm sorry if this shooting a little higher, but I'll come back to this. And it says, when you transform decision-making with data analytics software, that is where you start to be a more empowered university or an academic institute. And it's high time that institutions should inculcate that. Okay, now let's get to basics. We talked about 5 good examples before I started this presentation. I gave you how the world is going to look like. I asked all of you, how many of us thought we'd be listening, music on application like Spotify? How many of us thought that we'll have a MacBook Air kind of a thing, How many of us thought that, like there'll be cloud all across and we'll not have to store data anywhere? So things are changing. I named 3 things. I'll say collaboration, communication, and connectivity. These are the 3 things that change the entire example or the landscape of the technological highway. When I say collaboration, I say that everything merges. And that's why the quality and the standard of what we are collaborating has to be up to the mark. That's one. Connectivity, that means that each and every village or city in the country should be connected. That is the second thing. And collaborative cultures, I said connectivity. And when I say enablement, which is bandwidth. So we need to have internet across. That is a very important thing, that the bandwidth, broadband is also like one of the things. So this is it. This is the collaborative culture that we have to set up. And what are the things that are leading us to that? 4 things: cloud, mobile, big data, and social. And this is the soul of what is the right word? What changed the unprecedented change that we're going to witness in the next 5 years is going to be through cloud. This is like I'm sure you know, subscription licensing accelerated release cycles. When I say subscription, think of Microsoft Azure, think of Amazon AWS, think of anything that is subscription based, any tool. I'll tell you that as a technology practitioner, I work with hundreds of tools in my stint. So I have elaborate experiences. I'll tell you there's lots and lots of tools that talk about subscription licensing. So cloud changes the denomination. So imagine if you were to put your records in your college on the cloud, you would use a tool like Zoho or a tool like Bitrix, anything. Second is mobile. I'm sure you'll agree. This is the new life. This is the new chapter because it changes the dynamics like very powerfully. For another tangent, this everybody can comprehend why mobile. The third is social. Yes, everybody is on social media. I'm sure this is the most important thing. And the fourth is big data. How does big data change? Well, I just told you, the gold. Mukesh Ambani just said a couple of weeks ago, and I see many of them saying this, the next gold is the data. So save the data and manage it well and keep it secure. These are the four chemistries or pillars of this. I'm sure it's self-explanatory. 2.4 billion brands related conversation every day. What universe? Imagine how much are we saving? What is the kind of servers Google must be having? Imagine the scale. And then 8 out of 10 millennials spend at least half their time researching products online. Amazing. Creating unprecedented amounts of data. 90% of world's data was created in the past 2 years. One of the reasons the new education policy has come into fact is that technology in the last 100 years has changed like it never before did. So the last 100 years, maybe let's say put it like that, last 50 years has been phenomenally active for technology. And that's why the game changes. Key trends in the education sector, okay? One, well, everybody knows tagging, RFID technology. When you come in the premise, a college student per se comes in the premise, you tag them for security with RFID processing, or many technologies that tag students for security so that their parents know that they have moved in. Then there are big data AI programs for right candidates. More programs delivered, Udemy, Coursera, so many. Then digital technology. Well, yes, you get your grades online now. So imagine SAT and other things that are outdated. There'll be even better outputs coming soon. Then app-based virtual campus. Now, this is very interesting. Dr. Jerome, if you're listening to me, I would say that virtual campuses is the next big thing. As one of the companies, I am not able to recall, it's Infosys or it is the other one, or TCS. They have asked the government to formalize the virtual working, and they think this is the next big thing. So don't be surprised if the offices are completely omitted from the picture in the next couple of years, because geographies would merge when it's working. So, different people would be working together as collaborative tools. A Russian, a French, an American, an Indian, a Pakistani, everybody would merge to work on this app-based virtual campus. Mixed reality, well, again, virtual reality. Like I gave you the Harappa example, or the, let's say, I'll give you more examples on how this happens. Gamification, well, this is another a very burgeoning segment. And continuous learning. Let's get digitally creative and disruptive. Are we ready? Are we ready, guys? Anybody hearing me?
Yes, Deepa, we are following you.
All right. Okay. I'm a person. I don't know. You might think why I'm asking in between, because I'm a person who loves to interact with the people who listen, and it gets to be really fun that way. So having that, can anybody connect the dots here? It's a puzzle for you, for the people who are listening to me and what I said so far the last 40 minutes. So if anybody would like to answer, I'll give 5 seconds and then I'll move on, 5 or 10 seconds. This, and this equals to what?
Participants, you can put your responses in the chat box.
Okay.
Somebody commented digital transformation.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay, great. But I'll answer this one. This is AI stands for artificial intelligence. ML stands for machine learning. And this stands for a new term where half of you might have heard and half of you may not. I don't know. You might even know. It's cognitive computing. So when I say cognitive computing, it means thinking like a human. So a machine's going to think like a human. Scale, scope, and speed equals to, I tell you, digital transformation, which is nothing but the bandwidth enablement. So the digital disruption matrix, by 2019, 22% of brands will use bots. Do you have a bot for your institution? If not, I think it'll really help save a lot of money on customer care by deploying it. And this is 24/7. By 2021, 20% of all activities and individual engages will correspond to top 7 digital. We see that, don't we? So Geo deal that has happened, Facebook has invested, then Google has invested. Who else has invested? There's maybe, I think, a part of it in Netflix has come up. So these were 6-7 giants, Apple, Google, Facebook, these 6-7 giants are really going to take place. And by 2025, 42% of workers will work with AI. Most of us don't know, but on our cell phones, we're working with at least 7 or 6 apps that are working with artificial intelligence. One of my favorite examples that I give to my students when I teach is Netflix, because we are there every day hooked. I'm sure many of you love Netflix. The 42% of workers will work with AI. When we say AI with Netflix, it helps determine your choices based on what you see. That's nothing but the NLP technology or the AI technology. So by 2022, blockchain-based business. How many of us are familiar with blockchain? Well, it'll be nice to get an answer, but how many of us can understand and interpret? This technology is really going to be staying. It's not going anywhere for the next 5 years. And by 2020, 100 million consumers will shop in augmented reality. That means I'm not going to the store. I just sit in front of a VR headset and I will start to buy and shop. I just showed you an example of IKEA store in the beginning of this. Collaboration, creativity, communication. I think I've missed a word. It should be connectivity. I'm sorry. So these are the 5 things that you have a look. How does digital transformation bring immersive experiences for education for universities? If it was your question, I would answer this as 1, augmented and virtual reality. 2, addressing disruption. 3, massive open online courses that we see. All of us understand this very well. Second is personalized learning. Now that is a challenge. Imagine that when a teacher teaches in a classroom, many students don't follow what she or he is talking and they feel left out. Now, with this new DT change coming in, everybody can get into the personal self-paced learning. Jitna mujhe samajh aaye, utna main uske saath chalu. So I'll interpret it like how much ever I learn, I walk with my own speed. And the 5th is digital school services. So look at the denominations below. The numbers are self-explanatory. If you really want to see the unprecedented change in a positive manner and want to build your org like nobody else and want to expand globally, these are 5 things you'll have to get ready to embrace. This is slightly on the higher side, but I'll look at this. So I presented this in the IIM's Ranchi. I'm very fortunate. I presented to a bunch of very analytics driven students there. So we discussed, and the email, IM and phone call, this is level 1. Okay. The second was web conference. We're using this today. We are on Google Meet, virtual worlds, video conferencing. Simple, understandable. The third level is interactive shared whiteboard. This is also understandable. Then is social media. Perfect. Then high-end telepresence. Now, this is where is the inflection point comes, and we say immersive experiences. Take a look at this one. If you all are with me, try and understand this strip. This is the advanced level. This is the 5G level of digital transformation. I like to put this slide as. So you'll have 3D. I don't know how many of you have heard of Oculus Go. So we'll have virtual reality headsets and virtual reality technology on our, on our PCs connected on Facebook very soon, where you'll be able to go wherever. You don't need to go to the hills. You just need to put that headset on and go to the hills. So you'll be there. Then contextually relevant information flow, head-mounted virtual. This is slightly on the high side, but those of you who want to comprehend it would love when they understand this one. So there's another session for this. So I would rather move on, but if there are any questions, I'd love to answer. So this is very simple for those of us who are talking about digital media proliferation. This is paid media, owned media, and earned media. So how do you build your brand as an educational institute in the digital media in coherence with digital transformation would be through advertising. And I've seen samples of somebody populating your today's workshop, but this is something that you can build conversions through. This is another segment of digital transformation. Please ask questions if you want me to elaborate, but I'm hoping that this is comprehensible. Excuse me. Now, exact question of Deepa, if Dr. Jerome asked me this question, tell me, how would I collaborate my business processes? How do they become digitized? This will be my answer. Usage of digital tools to improve collaboration, streamlining operation with automation of data, automation of digital process and analysis, benefits of digital transformation. There'll be some of the benefits. New products, right? Oh, absolutely. Creating data-rich personalized experiences. So look at this. This is very interesting. Trello. Please manage your tasks in college or your university through Trello. Dropbox, save your data, save your documents in one go. You'll never lose it. WebEx, well, we're already working on Google Meet. Google Drive, everybody knows. So again, Asana is again a collaborative tool. This is slightly cut, the screenshot, but this is Evernote, which is again a task management software. So some example of collaborative technologies for a centrally ready and digitally ready organization, the academic institute. So that's it. I have to go on for some more time. How much time do I see left, Dr. Jerome? Like, do I still have time?
Another 20 minutes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was watching my watch so that people are not getting bored, huh?
No, absolutely no problem. You go ahead.
All right. Thank you. So where is artificial intelligence at right now? AI is nothing, people are, a lot of people are asking me, what is AI? Everything is AI driven, but AI is nothing but a pattern of life. And we, as I told you, that you're already using artificial intelligence without us even knowing how close we have got to this. So by the year 2020, 60% of companies will be using AI. Well, that's not really exactly true with COVID coming in. Some change has definitely taken place where companies are more worried about their revenue. But yes, this happens very fast because COVID, excuse me, COVID has set up a completely new, paradigm. We have moved on to the virtual highway, We have started to see new inventions. People are getting digitally savvy. That set up the process in such a fast manner. People who never knew how to do a virtual event have really moved on to do virtual events, how to connect on applications. So that process has started somewhere. 97% of mobile users are already using AI-powered voice assistants. I'm sure Alexa, everybody knows. Siri, everybody knows. So imagine that your airline companies or even your, what is the right way? If you had a customer care in your college or your university at the desk, it could be a chatbot or it could be a voice assistant who could say, how may I help you? And tell me which department do you want me to talk to? So there's nothing but a very interesting example. And then personalization. When I say personalization, what I'm trying to say is that if I am selling a course as a university, a computer science course in India to, let's say, about 500 or 1,000 students who might be my targeted audience, I would want to understand their profile. How would I personalize these people? Now that is another tangent, but that's what we call marketing through digital. And that is through personalization, which is profiling your prospects, nothing but personalizing them. So this is it, the power of artificial intelligence, $190 billion industry by 2025. We'll all have to change in accordance to this portion because this is a significant number. And very important thing as students, as academic teachers, and as management, that I'd like to tell you from my understanding how and where this is going, we'll really have to brace up our skill sets, in order that we do not become redundant. That goes for me as well as anybody of you, that all of us will have to put effort in terms of bracing our skill sets in the coming years to be digitally savvy. Changing business delivery models. Take a look at this. I've spoken about many other things, but if you want me to talk about anything in particular, I'll be happy to emphasize, because there's a little challenge that I'm not able to gauge the audience response. But having said that, big data, this is like the soul and core. Data saved, kept, data cleaned, data structured, and data building great inferences. This is big data, and it needs to be attended to at utmost priority. The second one that I see really coming in a big way when education or university learning is concerned is subscription-based models. You need to have an online presence, not just to be in Bangalore or in the south, down south, in the north, and even to the Indian subcontinent. Why not to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or Nepal, or as a matter of fact, Canada? So how do you do that? You don't need to build a campus anymore. You don't need to hire teachers. You just need to set up a studio and start subscription-based models. That's the story. Then we're talking about 3D printing, robots, IoT. IoT, for all of us, I'm sure know, but if you don't know, Internet of Things is nothing but when all the devices start getting connected to each other. That means my PC connects to my cell phone connects to my car connects to my refrigerator connects to my television. There's nothing but connectivity, as I said earlier, which is Internet of Things. Everything connected, that's it, by sensors in the cloud. Simplest denomination. So as I said, online platforms, I'm sure you're seeing Ronnie Srujana's platform. I'm not able to recall the name. Udemy, of course, but his one is the recent one that he's put courses on. And then there's so many online courses going on. As I said, now you have EDX, you have other certifications, you have credit ratings. And I'm glad that the new education policy emphasizes the credit rating points, just like as in the case of EDX, Coursera, and other universities. So cultivating a culture of collaboration. When we say that, this is a very big word. That means a centralized force that is interconnected, connecting everything that you have in a central repository and communicating with it. That is the beauty of the thing. Okay, so are there any questions for me? I'll be happy to take a pause. If you want me to take a pause, I will.
We have one question from the audience.
Yes.
Do commerce and management faculty or students, should they really learn programming so that they are competitive enough in the market?
So I want to tell you this very interesting story. Don't be surprised, but I want to be very honest. You'll be surprised what I graduated as. My daddy is in the, I'll answer it that way. My daddy is in the armed forces. So we did not have really lots of means to choose subjects. I did home science when I was graduating back in late 1990s. But my passion for technology has taken me to write a book on digital transformation. So I'm sure that answers your question, whoever it is. I'm sorry, I'm not able to see your name, but nothing binds you if you really want to do it. If you love something, number one. And number two, I think you should brace up your skill set, and programming is going to be like hygiene. Read, 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 and supplement your education. This is what I think.
That question was from Sam Deepa. However, the next question again
Okay.
is
Thank you.
from
Yeah.
Rema.
Okay.
In a populous country like India, a not so rich population, do you still think we can depend so much on technology?
Well, definitely yes. I'll tell you what, people look at us as a developing economy, but what they don't see is that our cup is half empty. And we have so much. We have the largest pool of English speaking people in the world. We have the largest pool of software graduates going out from here to the US and Canada and whatnot. I am betting it today in 2020 that people will be flocking back to India, those who have gone, and they'll be building applications here for us. So
Okay.
that's how it is.
Thanks, Deepa. Another question from Alice Matthew. Will artificial intelligence replace teachers? It's a scary situation.
No, it's not scary. No, it's not scary. The thing is, as I said, you'll have to be smarter. Because let me tell you, as Sadhguru says, the human body is the most powerful component no machine can replace. So if you set your eyes on jet staging to a newer level. So today, if I've written a book on digital transformation, I want to write for a book on artificial intelligence in the next 4 years. You'll have to upgrade in order to master a machine. And I'm telling you, when we go for the job market, they're not looking for the most experienced. They're looking for the brightest and shiniest who have the best skill sets. So my question to all of you listening to me is, what are you doing to brace up your skills today? Are you learning? That's how I'll answer my question.
Deepa, do we have time for one more question or you'll proceed with your presentation?
No, I love questions. I love interactive audience.
Okay. We have a question from Facebook. Your session is being streamed live on Facebook as well.
Oh.
Rohan Surya wants to know, what are the common challenges associated with bringing these technologies into practice?
This is a very good question. I love this question. I'll tell you what is the problem. The problem is not the technology. To my understanding, in the corporates, the problem is the culture. And that means that the base level thing is the skill. Skill is obviously a challenge, but in organizations, my answer is from the perspective of organizations that I've learned is that many people, and of course the different sections, so they have to merge, and people also have to change their thought process. So I'll give you a simple example. If I give a tool to my team to use, it takes me lots of time to make them pick up the tool to use. That is the problem. The adaptation to technology, I think, is the challenge.
Thanks, Deepa. There's another question from Sam Joshua.
So,
His concern is, where do we fit in the augmented reality if only we invest in the softwares, isn't it?
no, it's not that. I mean, if I'm understanding it correctly, you're saying it's not, it's going to be very cheap. So I'll give you a small Tesla example that last night, and then you connect it with this augmented reality. The first car that came was super expensive, and then they gave a cheaper version, and now they're working on the cheapest version for the masses to adopt and buy the car. So like data used to be so expensive, and now it's so cheap. So my thing to you would be that this is going to be very, very economical, and it'll be all automated. I don't think it'll only need investments where you're integrating if it's for a high-end purpose. But for masses, it'll be affordable.
Well, Deepa, talking in the context of the cars, do you think cars will be completely self-driven, referring to the example which you shared with us at the beginning of your session?
See, I'll be very honest with you. Modi, in India, if you say, Modi will have to give us the roads. But if you say the outside world, maybe you say US, Canada, I'm sure. I see that happening in India also, but since we're a little populated, I'm wondering if it'll take us time to build infrastructure. But yes, we definitely see the cars coming. Another 2 years. I think in some of the cities in US, we see self-driven cars already, which taking place.
Thanks, Deepa. We have some more questions coming in. I think we'll proceed with the session and then take the rest of it.
So I would love an interactive session, but then I'm shifting to my next slide, which is cognitive computing. Now, when I say Alexa, please fix up. I'll give you a practical example. Alexa, please set a reminder for tomorrow 10 a.m. keynote speech. Alexa sets a reminder or nothing, which is like example, a partial basic example of cognitive computing, where we're talking about voice recognition, we're talking about speech recognition, so lots of things. So cognitive computing is nothing. When I say IBM Watson, it means to think like a human, and in fact, faster than humans. So when I ask a query to IBM Watson, which is nothing but a, the what's say, I'd say it's a enhanced version of Alexa, maybe 500 level higher, 500 notches higher. If I was to ask him that, hey, my aunt had cancer, for example, do you think that my generations ahead, maybe the second generation, may have the possibility? What is the level and which kind of cancer would that be? It will give me an answer through distinguished level of searching and going through records of my medical history. It can answer that question. So when I say cognitive computing, this is how it is. So this is not very far away. For us, Watson is a big thing. But in the next 3 or 4 years, you see computers doing that. And there'll be a huge library of ifs and whats and buts and whatnots. I'm sure you gel with me. Are you with me on this, IBM Watson?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Fastest growing marketing technologies. Well, we talked about it. There's one thing that I've not spoken about till now, which is marketing automation. Yeah. So marketing automation, digital media is an important thing. How do you automate marketing? Now that is another session too, but this is very interesting. When you automate your marketing through tools, it's nothing but marketing automation. And this we have spoken: chatbots, voice search, live video, personalized content. And where does this lead to? Well, we're coming to an end. We have 6 or 7 slides more, so I'll process this quickly. I've already passed the time at it's 11. So where does all this lead to? Customer retention. 1, increase efficiency. Obviously, you save costs, you have more aligned processes, you have better organized cultures in the organization. Personalized efficiency, far more sorted students and teachers, right? And integration and collaboration of everything. So what is the word? You no more longer operate as separate units. There's a centralized repository that you refer to. And lastly, predictive lead scoring. And that's another tangent, predictive lead scoring, but yes, we'll come back to that later. So when I say, I've already spoken about Internet things, but look at this array of things, how the cities are going to be. I'll give you a small example of how our cities are going to look like. See, smart health, then education is going to be a part of it. Array of things is nothing but a part of IoT, which is Internet of Things. Air pollution, everything's going to be connected. You can censor what is the air pollution outside, or I can access to my cloud. What are the level of smart buildings, smart environment, everything smart, everything connected. There's nothing but IoT in the cloud, connected in the cloud. So that's my only fear. My fear is not that we lose jobs. The fear is that we'll stop talking to each other and we'll talk to machines. That is my fear, because most of us are on mobile phones and whatnot, but the human interface should never go. So that's it. Coming to chatbots, I know most of you know what's a chatbot. A chatbot is nothing but a component that uses personalized information for each customer it speaks to, allowing to provide real-time, valuable assistance or service in a targeted and friendly manner. If there's a question on chatbots, I'll be happy to answer. Some brilliant examples: Alibaba, Microsoft, Airbnb. Imagine this, not even a single hotel owned, and they're a couple of $1 billion revenue. How the company changes. Do you really think you need to invest in infrastructure like huge buildings for a college? I'm sorry, we're going for a change. Expect everything smart and virtual. No need to invest on campuses. Build a virtual campus. No, not a virtual teacher, of course, but a teacher who can teach virtually. That is how it is, So I think this is very high-end. I'll send you this if you want high education business. So if somebody wants to delve deeper, but I would keep it here only. I would not go longer. But this is something that I can tell you more if ever we connect again. Customer experience platform, lots of things. How are we going to connect in this ecosystem? You can use these slides I'll send if you want. So that's it. Connect classroom to the world is what Modi ji says. Break the stereotype. No more number pressure. Boost creativity. Love what you do and do what you love. That's my answer. This is again heavy stuff. You can take it, read it, and comprehend. Some prominent digital initiatives: Coursera, Skype, I know most of Khan Academy, Navians, for those of you not heard, some brilliant examples of how innovation is being done. And this is very quickly as I wind up. This is this is an LMS software, learning management, a virtual software where you can put your courses, teach the students. So LMS software, which we have done, my company has done this learning management software, and we have deployed it in a couple of government institutes in Delhi. So this is the digital transformation model. What we have learned today: one, in digitization, digitize documents, organize documents, automate processes, streamline processes, and transform. This is a long process, and we need to create the culture and understanding. That is the most important. And in order to understand, you'll have to be very, very skill set conscious. So brace up your skill sets is very important. And that's it, guys. I would rather end abruptly, but that summarizes my presentation for the day. I'm happy to have any questions from you.
We'll take some more questions, Deepa.
So,
Mrs. Geeta's concern is, how do we take our rural sector with digital transformation?
this is very interesting, but as I said, हमारा जो पहला काम होना चाहिए, I'll switch to English. The first thing that we need to do is connect them, connect the rural sector. Once they're connected, then it's literacy, train. So level 1, connect the rural part. Level C cities, that is train them. What is Google doing? They are running schemes. Facebook's running schemes. That's what these large conglomerates are doing. They're teaching these people. And third is give them tools. So I know there's some people who are using, techniques to understand better, how to do better cropping in agriculture, fisheries. So people are learning. There are many institutes and organizations who are doing that.
Okay. Rema has a question. What will happen to human relationships as digital transformation evolves more and more?
Yeah, that's what I just told you 5 minutes ago, that my only worry is not that they'll eat away our jobs. The only worry is that they'll cut down the social component. So imagine this. I don't know if you've heard of, I shouldn't be using this term in this particular keynote, but have you seen rehabs in the West? You will not be surprised. The new business that I see coming is the rehab on, they call it digital detox, when they'll keep your cell phone and your laptop. And believe me, my family has to do it for me. They have to actually take away my laptop and my cell phone in order to spend a holiday. So that is my biggest fear for this generation, that we'll have to maintain a balance, an immaculate balance,
Yes, Deepa. Vivekanandan has a question. In this COVID period, when there is very limited resources and half a salary given, how can we invest on technology?
I want to hear this question again. You're saying in this COVID period, when you're given half a salary, how can we invest on this? On this
How do
technology?
we invest on technology when there are limited resources available for
No,
organizations?
I disagree. I'll disagree. Why? Because, if you look at our parents and teachers, like you go to my mother did not have Google. I have Google. And Google doesn't charge me a penny to read. I read I'm a ferocious, I'm a dedicated reader. Udemy gives you a course of $400. I'm sure everybody can afford $400, $499. A blockchain course is available at $300. If you really want to read, there's no dearth, and nothing stops you, no matter what. So you don't need lots of monies to do this. If there's a will, there's a way. That's how I look at it.
I agree with you, Deepa, on that note of where there is a will, there is a way. Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the next question from Suresh.
Mm-hmm.
What cultural roadblocks stand in the way of change?
Yes. Now that is a good question. And I'd say that I think we have to change our mindset. So while Modi ji has given us something very nice, the education policy has changed, but are we ready for the change is my question. The way the parents have my thought is very, this is my own thought, so please pardon me if I'm candid, but You know, we live in a culture where there are only number driven pressure and excellence and, you know, getting better marks and academics and books. And I think we need to look into that. And I think culture change means a mindset change. And that is why I'm here today, is because I think I'll make a difference for all those who are listening to me, and I might inspire them to learn something new. That is my only takeaway from this particular experience. Of course, it's a lovely experience, but I love the fact that if I inspire you guys.
Thanks, Deepa. Abhishek Biswas has a question. We have learnt all the pros of artificial intelligence and automations. If things may be, what are the cons of artificial intelligence and automation that we should be concerned about?
You're talking about automation per se? What is the question? Come again?
So far, we've seen the pros of artificial intelligence and automations, right? We would like to
Correct.
see the other side of it. What are the demerits of artificial intelligence and automation?
I don't think so. There are any demerits. I think this is all win-win. And imagine if I was to sit on a particular tool and have to compute data after hours and hours of, delving deep, put a model, then get an answer. I have Tableau. I'll just pull things together in a minute. I'll give it to my boss. So it doesn't have any demerit. The only demerit is
Yes,
balance. I think the balance is the only problem. Nothing else.
Okay. Does Suresh has one question.
Mhm.
Does digital transformation create a collaborative learning environment which is present in the physical classroom?
It depends. If you look at now, look at this particular span in the last 4 months, it's been a boon to all of us, isn't it? So while there's no match to face, when you say digitally collaborate, I'm sure your geography increases and number of people who bring learning to that curve also increases. So both have merits and demerits. So digital is, you can integrate APIs, so you can supplement your learning. I'll give you an example. You work on Trello, you can integrate the API with 3 more tools. You learn 4 more technologies. But emotionally speaking, face to face is a different touch that nobody can match. You know, that's how it is.
Yeah, one common question that I see across the audience is that artificial intelligence is looked more as a threat to humankind over a period of time. Can you convince us more that it is not a threat?
See, it's very simple. As we are configured, we, as Sadhguru says, as just said, that we are the best of the best in terms of the machine that the God has created. So progress cannot be stopped. It's only there are intelligent adaptability and balance can help better. Yes. Nobody can stop our progress, but how we manage that balance in a very delicate and graceful manner so that we do not suffer. I'll give you a small example. I have Netflix. I watch 3 hours Netflix every night. Who's to blame? Not Netflix, me. I do not know that if I have that facility available, I should cut it down to 1.5 hours and go to sleep after that. So that answers your question, I guess. You know?
Okay, yes, Deepa. The next question is working as an entrepreneur and teaching is two different worlds. So, what's my level compared to the computer science teachers? You wrote a book also, ma'am. So, what do we need to teach it so that it's a little, because it's a total different ball game.
So working as an entrepreneur and teaching is 2 different worlds. Yes. So what's
Yeah.
my level compared to the computer science? You wrote a book. I'm not able to understand this question. The question is working as an entrepreneur and teaching is, yes, it is 2 different worlds, but not, because if you love what you do, you'll have to teach the same. For me, it's very simple. Now, what is your question? What's your good name, please? The person who has asked this.
Mr. Pandyan has asked this question.
So what is the question? I could not follow the question. If you could,
Uh,
and then if you can speak up, it'll be nice.
I think he is asking if you're working as an, so you, it is in context with you, like you're an entrepreneur and you've authored a book. Now, how do we take the insights that we are having in this session? Because teaching is a different thing. So, how do I ensure I'm competent enough?
No, so I'll tell you what. Okay, I can answer this. Very important. The problem here that I see as a futurist and a thought leader who's worked for 20 years in industry is that even my daughter has a textbook reading a lot. But I always tell her that you have to come to my office and get some internship, like get some practical industry knowledge. So teaching that goes with industry implication and knowledge will take you places. So trust me, teaching is good only when it is applied in relevance to what is happening in the industry, not by theory. I disagree with theory. You know, strategy, yes, but what corporates are doing, then you learn better. That is my tangent to your question.
Thanks, Deepa. We have one more question from Pandian. Will this digital technology create a monopoly by US and China and make other countries ruled by them?
No, I disagree. We have the best pool of software engineers in the world, buddy, if you know. Why would they rule us? We are the best. It's just that we should stop flocking to USA now that Trump has also put his foot down on H-1B visas. I think Indians should be encouraged to build their own application. Like China is so protective, so why should Indians not? We are better than them, and we'll rule the world. Let me assure you, that is my thought.
Well, Ms. Deepa, we've got an alert from Nidhi saying that you have some meetings lined up
No,
after this
Nidhi,
session.
Nidhi. You know what? I think, Sangeeta, you can ask me questions. I don't mind. I would really love to answer if there's any question. But yes, if there are no questions, I'd like to take the lead.
Yes, that's about it with respect to questions. Thank you for your patience in answering all our queries on Google Meet as well as Facebook. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you so
Uh,
much. The pleasure's been mine.
yes. Ms. Deepa, at the outset, I would like to tell you that how grateful we are for your benevolent gesture of accepting our invite.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you for being so humbling. Thank you.
Yeah, your session on the paradigm shift in the academics industry from classroom learning to blended learning, embracing technology, is inevitable to all of us. It is heartening to realize that students will soon upgrade from classworks to cloud. Your insights on digitization, personalization, and its repercussions on specifically the education section or the education sector is very enlightening, in fact. Thank you, Ms. Deepa Payal, for an enlightening and educative session on digital transformation for effective teaching. We are certainly privileged to be a part of this learning platform. We appreciate your effort in simplifying this mysterious area, digital transformation, well clarified. Thank you so much on behalf of Indian Academy Degree College Autonomous.
Well, thank you so much. I love coming here. Thank you to Dr. Srinidhi, Dr. Jerome. Thank you, Sangeeta, and everybody. And all I would want is that if you liked my presentation, do leave us a feedback or a testimonial. We'd love that. That is our motivation.
Sure, Ms. Deepa, we will do that. And we are truly honored to have you within a short span, no period of time, you were able to accept and then given your consent. So kind of you. I know you're too busy, but still you made it. Thank you so much.
It's a
We'll
pleasure.
be,
Thank you so much.
we'll be in touch with you. We'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
I conclude my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Deepa. We will have a short break of